If your cruise stops in La Spezia, chances are you're already thinking Cinque Terre, Florence, or Pisa. And that's exactly why this port catches so many people out. On paper, everything looks close and doable. In reality, La Spezia is a port where the choice you make matters more than almost anywhere else in the Mediterranean. In this video, I'll explain how La Spezia actually works as a cruise port, what's realistic on a port day, how Cinque Terre really feels when you do it independently, and how Florence and Pisa compare. I've cruised the Med several times, docked here on P&O Avia, and visited this region both independently and on shore excursions. So this is based on my real experience. First up, here's how La Spezia works as a cruise port. La Spezia is a working commercial port, so you don't walk straight off into town. Cruise ships dock at Molo Garibaldi, and walking inside the port isn't allowed. Instead, everyone uses the complimentary shuttle buses, which run continuously and take you from the ship to the port exit in just a few minutes. At the port exit, there's a small terminal building. It's basic but useful. You'll usually find tourist information, local tour operators, ferry ticket booths for Cinque Terre, and taxis waiting outside. Once you step out here, the day really begins, and this is where your choice starts to matter. La Spezia Cruise Port feels easy at first, and that's exactly why people underestimate it. Getting off the ship in La Spezia is simple. You're on a free shuttle and out of the port in minutes. That's the easy part. What catches people out is everything that comes next. Train tickets, queues, journey times, and working out what actually fits into a single port day. La Spezia doesn't look complicated, but it rewards people who plan it properly. Once you're out of the port, the next decision that shapes your whole day is how you get to the train station. La Spezia Centrale train station is about 2 kilometers from the port exit. If you enjoy walking, it's around 25 minutes on mostly flat streets. But in summer heat, or if you're keen to get moving quickly, a taxi is often the better option. Taxis usually take under 10 minutes and cost roughly 8 to 10 euros. There are also local buses, which take about 15 minutes and cost a couple of euros. This station is your gateway to Cinque Terre, Pisa and Florence, and it's also where queues can start to shape your day. Cinque Terre is the main reason most people come ashore here, but this is where expectations really need managing. Yes, Cinque Terre is absolutely doable, independently from La Spezia, and it's the most natural choice from this port. Trains run frequently, the journey times are short, and on paper it looks very straightforward. But this is where expectations need managing. Cinque Terre is beautiful, but it is busy. Trains can be crowded, platforms fill quickly, and the villages themselves are compact, with narrow streets that feel intense when multiple cruise ships are in port. The biggest mistake people make is trying to do all 5 villages. My honest advice is to pick 2, maybe 3 at most, and actually spend time wandering. Trying to rush from village to village often turns a stunning place into a stressful one. I've done Cinque Terre independently by train from La Spezia, and it's absolutely doable. The mistake is trying to rush it. How you travel around Cinque Terre makes a bigger difference than which villages you choose. The train is the fastest and most flexible way to get around. It lets you move between villages quickly, but it also means dealing with station queues and busy carriages. Boat trips from La Spezia harbour are another option, and they offer fantastic views of the coastline. They're slower, and they don't stop at every village, but they can feel far more relaxed, especially in peak season. If you're easily overwhelmed by crowds, the boat can be a much calmer way, even if you see fewer places. If Florence or Pisa are on your list from La Spezia, this is where organised transport actually starts to make sense. When I docked here on P&O Avia, I chose a Florence on your own style excursion. You get the security of ship organised transport, but once you arrive, you explore Florence independently. That balance works really well from this port. Companies like Get Your Guide and Viator also offer similar trips, picking up from the shuttle drop-off and taking you directly to Florence or Pisa. Florence is around 90 miles away. By train, it's usually just over 2 hours each way, often with a change. By coach, It's typically around 1 hour and 45 minutes direct. Pisa is closer at about 50 miles. By train, it's 45 minutes to an hour, but you're still dealing with stations and queues. By coach, it's usually around an hour, door to door. That's why organized transport works well here. It removes the longest and most unpredictable part of the day without taking away your freedom once you arrive. This is really the main decision most people are making from La Spezia. Cinque Terre is closer, more flexible, and easier to manage independently. You can adjust the day as you go, spend time in 1 or 2 villages, and you're never too far from the ship. Florence is a much bigger commitment. It's further away, involves more travel, and once you've gone that route, the day is largely fixed around transport and timings. Neither option is wrong, but they suit different priorities. So, is La Spezia actually worth visiting on a cruise day? I'll be honest, for me, the answer is no. La Spezia is very much a gateway port, and that's exactly why it appears on Mediterranean itineraries. It's here to give you access to places people actively want to visit. Those are the experiences that make this stop special. I think most people would regret not using the day to visit somewhere that really stands out. La Spezia itself is fine, but it's not the reason people book a Mediterranean cruise. This port works best when you treat it as a launch point for somewhere memorable, rather than the destination itself. This is one of those ports where giving up a bit of independence can actually make the day better. Longer distances, tight timings, and busy transport links mean small delays add up quickly. That's where organized transport can take the pressure off by removing the most stressful parts of the day. You still get freedom when you arrive, without worrying about connections, return trains, or cutting it too fine getting back to the ship. This is the choice that usually comes with having done this port once already. Next time, I'd go to Portofino. It's calmer, more elegant. You still get that Ligurian coastline feel, but without constantly moving between places or watching the clock. Getting there from La Spezia does take a bit of planning, but it's very doable. Most people travel by train towards Santa Margherita Ligure, which takes just over an hour, and then either a short bus ride or a ferry along the coast into Portofino itself. That last stretch is part of the experience. The ferry in particular is a lovely way to arrive, and it immediately sets a very different tone to the day. Portofino isn't about ticking off sights. It's about slowing the pace, wandering the harbour, enjoying the views, and sitting down for a proper coffee or lunch without feeling rushed. La Spezia is a port where choosing how you spend the day matters more than what looks best on a list. The next Mediterranean port where this really comes into play is Civitavecchia, the gateway to Rome. That's a port where the wrong plan can ruin the day, and the right one can make it unforgettable. That's the next video in this series, and it's the one you'll want to watch before you decide what to do there.